The Great Southern Flag. Arguably the most fitting and suitable alternative flag for Australia today. This video will stimulate interest into our national flag's design and leave you wondering, why hasn't this already been chosen? First, let's start with its name, Great Southern Flag. The reason why it was given its name was because Australians and the world has always regarded our wonderful country as the Great Southern Land. Even when explorers ventured out in search for it, it would often be regarded to as such. Hence, Great Southern Flag being overwhelmingly fitting and a name that Australians can take great pride in. Secondly, the design. The Great Southern Flag's creator Leon said, "The new Australian flag should be based around the Eureka Stockade flag as it is the only real symbol of our history." He also spoke of its significance, saying that it has basically been the only flag flown in our nation that does not have the Union Jack displayed on it. And in his opinion, now that we are an independent nation, why should we not put forward our own image? The changes that were made to the Eureka Stockade flag was, as you can see, the colours. Green and gold were chosen as they are what our accepted national colours are, seen at sporting events around the world. Leon went on to say he does not understand why we should attend sporting and other national events and wave a red, white and blue flag whilst wearing green and gold. Let's now look at the centre of the flag. Red and black hemispheres with the yellow kangaroo immediately show acknowledgement of the Indigenous flag, but often mistaken for being an Aboriginal flag entirely, due to individuals not used to seeing Aboriginal recognition on an Australian flag. Some individuals may not agree with recognising Indigenous Australians on a national flag and often argue, if you're combining a flag to include everyone, why does Aboriginal people get their own space on the flag, and imply that they are being singled out. But what we must remember is they deserve their own place on the flag, as they are the original inhabitants of the land. Now let's go to the kangaroo. Leon placed a kangaroo in the centre as an instant recognition to people around the world as Australian. The Federation Star, or otherwise known as the Commonwealth Star, was a further addition placed in the same position as our current flag star. The history behind adding the star was actually a request by a follower of the Great Southern Flag. After a lettered suggestion for Leon to add the Federation Star, he gave it some thought and came to the conclusion that it is in the best interest of the new Australian flag to have this displayed on it. The Epsilon Star was also added at this time to give it an appearance of a Southern Cross. It was not created to be a true Southern Cross, as the Eureka Stars do not allow it. Third and lastly for this video, let's speak about a brief history into why the Eureka Stockade flag was chosen for the core piece of this design. The short summary is, back in the 1850s, the general population stopped working in the towns and set out to look for gold. The towns quickly suffered from not having any workers, so the Victorian government imposed licence fees to look for golds that were exorbitant. This virtually meant that the people could not afford the hefty price that was being demanded, and they were therefore forced to go back to their regular town jobs. In 1854, the miners had numerous meetings and came to the conclusion that they would set up a stockade, which is another way of saying that they would set up a fortress to resist the state troopers and soldiers when they came to collect their licence fees and check that they had registered licences. They swore an oath under the Southern Cross, also now known as the Eureka Stockade flag, saying, "We swear by the Southern Cross to stand truly by each other and fight to defend our rights and liberties." The battle was lost, but they ultimately won the war by fighting for their rights as the licensing was made more affordable. Leon ultimately thinks that this part of history should represent us, as the miners who swore the oath under the Southern Cross came from every nation on earth. As a multicultural country, this flag includes a piece of everybody. Remember this design, as we hope to one day see it flying high across our great nation, once it is recognised for its truly tremendous and remarkable design.